Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and today we are talking about how Yoshi in the Mysterious Book probably isn't quite what you think it is, or how for a lot of us, this game hasn't been quite what we thought it would be. It's actually a little bit different, and I think because many people thought it'd be one thing and it's actually something else, that's kind of impacted a lot of our takes on this game. And so I've actually been very hesitant about this game, just from the perspective of I wasn't sure it was for me. It seemed very kid-friendly, very easy, very cozy, and that's usually not the type of game I go for. Nothing bad about it, but just personally not my kind of game. Like when we saw the very first trailer of the game, I was kind of intrigued, but as we learned more, and the consensus on what the game is sort of started to spread, I became a lot more hesitant, and then when I played the demo, as I talked about a couple weeks ago, I felt that there was certainly something here in terms of the experimentation element that was interesting, but I wasn't feeling so strong about it that I felt compelled to pick the game up. Yet, here I am, having picked up the game. I decided to buy it, in large part because I thought this would be a good conversation to have, and I put some more hours into the actual game. I've seen some reviews and other takes as well, and what I've come to realize is that Yoshi the Mysterious Book isn't quite what we thought it would be. Like, yes, the game is still cute and tearful, it still plays like other Yoshi games in a lot of ways in terms of Yoshi's mechanics, although there's a little bit more to it now. The manner in which you can aim and look around with throwing your eggs and using your tongue. You have a nearly infinite flutter jump now. It can go for a very long time where you just descend very slowly. And then being able to interact with objects and characters and throw them on your back and toss them, those little elements mixed in with all the other core Yoshi mechanics make controlling Yoshi more interesting than it ever has been before. But it's the elements of interacting with the world and seeing what can be done, and consistently finding more and more things about the world, those discoveries, that make this Yoshi so interesting. You can't die. I haven't seen any boss fights yet or anything like that. There's no real threat. And so, a lot of people who are accustomed to other types of adventure games or platformers may play Yoshi and see this and be a little underwhelmed. They may kind of feel like the game is a cakewalk. And from that perspective, yes, the game is a cakewalk. It's very easy to not die, but that doesn't mean there isn't challenge. There's more to it, and that's something we're going to be getting into as we dive a bit deeper into this video. But let's take a look at what other people have to say on this game. So, the Metacritic scores. Game has an 80 on Metacritic, and what's interesting, the critical response is the same as the user score, 8 out of 10, which I think is a very, very solid score. But taking a look at a few different reviews here, Digitally Downloaded gave the game a 100. You just know that Yoshi in the Mysterious Book is speeding face first into a relatively muted response from critics and consumers alike. They will appreciate the art style and energy, but we don't really have a framework in gaming to properly celebrate the kind of experience that the game is. Less challenging than Mario, less expansive than Donkey Kong, and less intricate than a Hollow Knight. Yoshi in the Mysterious Book is best thought of as a toy box filled with playthings for the imagination and rewarding you if you approach it that way, rather than as a traditional game. I personally think it's utterly wonderful, but then I spend my entire life chasing creative whimsy. So that's one very positive perspective. But here's one more on the negative side. Bat Nurse with a 7 out of 10. This is a very cozy, low-stakes game. Visuals and sound design fit well for what this adventure is about. The overworld is very well designed and something I really haven't seen used much or at all before. I have to say I was kind of confused at first because it was so unorthodox, but after taking some time to figure out what the game was about, it all makes sense. Gameplay is interesting and varied. There's always something new that you're doing and learning about, which is a huge plot point in the story. As I was playing through this game, I found myself wishing some of the level design was like older entries. It felt like every new level had some gimmick attached to it, where some were hits and some I was just trying to get through as quickly as I could. Yoshi the Mysterious Book is actually a fantastic entry point for new or young gamers. It's set up in a way where you can explore as much as you want or as little and still progress through the different chapters. This isn't quite what I was expecting from this game, but it knows what it wants to be, and it did a fairly good job with it. You can tell that a lot of love and creativity was poured into this, and I think it'll be a great entry for kids, or for those looking for a completely chill experience. For me, it does get rather repetitive and there's not much challenge to it, but I see where they're going with this one, and I've played through enough of it to know this is not my favorite Yoshi game, but it is a competent and unique one for the right audience. And so there are some common sentiments I'm seeing here. That this game is cozy, it's chill, it's geared for people who are just looking for a casual experience or for children. But it's also not what people thought. And that part to me is really interesting. So as I've dived a little bit deeper into this game, I've put now a few more hours into the game, going beyond just the demo experience. And my takeaways is that there are so many different aha moments. They keep happening. And if you enjoy those aha moments, if that's what you're looking for, and you want more of that, then this game is definitely for you. Like in one of the earlier levels, when you're trying to push around all the dandelion, I just love the idea of that, where you're continuously interacting with these dandelions, finding different ways to get them to spread all throughout the environment, and how they spread and what they attach to has different reactions. That's super cool. Like the game shows you that when you get these onto big rocks, you can use that to shatter these rocks. But if you get these dandelions onto apples, they then suck out the life from the apples, and they're consistently shooting more dandelion seeds everywhere, so if you carry it on your back, you can just have them puffing around everywhere you go, and it's a lot easier to spread these around the environment. But where I had a really big, exciting aha moment here is when I found some water, and I got the dandelions to hit the water. And so they would soak up the water. And if you keep doing it, eventually all the water is drained out and you can find a little secret area. There's a lot of stuff like this throughout Yoshi Mysterious Book that I've found really interesting. Like with the bees, I just thought it was really cool that if you find a fruit, the bees will be attracted to the fruit and they'll all go into one point. Or with these random colorful dudes, no, I'm not going to remember any of these names. You can chuck them around and they can constantly different reactions, including pulling down these vines and finding another secret area where there's a giant one of them. And so Yoshi the Mysterious Book is about experimentation. It's not a typical adventure, there's not going to be any fighting or anything like that. But if you're going to find yourself enjoying surprises by interacting with the environment and consistently looking for more different things to do, then this is going to be a fun time. And so when it comes to challenge, you're not going to be finding your typical type of challenge you would in any other sort of adventure or platformer. But there is challenge in this game, it just comes in a different form. It comes in the form of not knowing what to do next, of going to certain areas and wanting to find that secret. You kind of assume, because there's so many secrets everywhere, that there is something going on in this area of a level. But you don't know what it is, and so you have to experiment and find out, and sometimes that can take a while. And so there were moments where I found myself getting a little stuck. That is challenge. So this game isn't an entire cakewalk when it comes to the experimentation and seeking out those aha moments, which is what this game is all about. With that all said though, it then kind of gets me thinking about how Nintendo went about marketing this game. And, you know, while I think overall, Nintendo has been doing really well, their games are selling really well overall, the strength of their brand is just super powerful. And I think they're doing some really smart stuff with all the cross-promotion, with the movies, the parks, the Lego sets, all contributing to better sales for their games. I think that's all great. When we have situations like this with Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, though, I am kind of left to wonder if maybe there could be a little bit more done here in some cases. Like, I think there's certainly some debate to be had about how Nintendo went about marketing Metroid Prime 4, and we've had those conversations. But we look at Yoshi here, and we'll see how Yoshi performs. Something tells me Yoshi's going to do pretty well, in large part because Yoshi does appeal to a very widespread audience, but also Yoshi right now is trending because of the Mario movie, so that cross-promotion may work wonders. And also, because Nintendo has been so quiet lately, Yoshi is kind of like the big thing to talk about and play when it comes to Nintendo, at least for this month of May. And so those things bode well, but at the same time, many people see the game, they see what people are saying about the game. Even if you just play a little bit of the game, like me, if you play the demo, you may not get enough information on what this game is all about. You may not have a proper picture of what this game is, especially because it's so different and it's different from prior Yoshi games as well. I am left to think that maybe Nintendo could have done an even better job of telling us what this is all about. And maybe with that second trailer after the initial reveal, that was their intent. But what's funny is that when I saw that trailer, it's what turned me off from the game. So while there was certainly an effort to educate people on how, with this game, you are exploring around and finding these different creatures and sort of studying them, I don't think they really sold the value of the consistent aha moments and how that's what this game is all about. Pursuing those discoveries. Or else we wouldn't be talking about how Yoshi Mysterious Book isn't quite exactly what we thought it would be. But it is a good game, just a different kind of game. But what do you all think? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching. If you've gone this far and you find yourself enjoying my videos, please subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.